I guess the main question is, do we have to revise the numbers in the budget? Has kind of what we've been seeing caused problems for the revenue projections?
No, absolutely not. In fact, I think the feedback that we've got from other members of the Economic Forecast Council after seeing the budget, I think have been quite positive. You know, for example, when you take the CIBC on budget day, for example, they talk about how the budget allows for a 0.9% decline in real GDP with a 2.4% recovery next year. They say that, as in their words, these assumptions are below consensus. Another comment that they make, released a new forecast for BC for on February 17th. This is CIBC. The forecast for BC real GDP in 2009 was minus 0.6%, still above the Ministry of Finance forecast number that we built into the budget. To quote the Toronto Dominion Bank, they say BC Finance is playing it safe by using a forecast significantly below the private sector average. We've got actually the Central One Credit Union publication that the opposition were quoting from today actually includes on page 3 a table of that does an update of forecasts from 4 of the council members of the Economic Forecast Council, and the average for BC was real GDP growth outlook for 2009 of minus 0.7, and that's still above, again, the forecast that we've built our budget on, so I can carry on.
Yeah, you've got a guy who on budget day all but agreed with you. I mean, he was saying -1, you were saying -0.9. And now he's looked at the new indicators and said we need to go down. I mean, is there going to be a time where you're going to have to do that? Or are you confident enough with your numbers?
Well, no, I'm not going to revise a budget based on the forecast of one economist. And I think that's part of the principle behind the Economic Forecast Council. Is made up of 12 of the leading economists across Canada. And by taking the average of those forecasts and then building in some additional conservatism into the projections that we're making, I think is the right approach. And so
additional conservatism? What's
well, in terms of every year, so we'll take the average of the Economic Forecast Council, right, and then we will reduce it by 0.3 or 0.4%. This year, because of the volatility in the economy, we actually reduced the Economic Forecast Council by 0.9%. So it's actually double any of the conservative measure that we've done in past budgets.
So is Helmut just wrong?
Well, I think that Helmut's an accomplished individual, and he has his analysis that he does in his forecast. I guess what I can say is that the other members of the Forecast Council don't agree with him. So
is he being pessimistic like the NDP?
Well, I think that that certainly the forecasts that Mr. Pastrick has been putting out are significantly more pessimistic than other economists in Canada. So, I guess at the end of the day, it's we'll see how history unfolds.
But he also mentions that you didn't have access to the latest job numbers, the latest housing starts. If you'd been able to use those, do you think you yourself would be more pessimistic?
No, because I think even when you look at job numbers, for example, you pretty much have to look at a 3-month rolling average. The job numbers, if you look at the variations from month to month, really are quite volatile, and so we look at the long term. But again, it's I think that the approach we've taken to this budget is actually to build in additional conservatism compared to the approach we've had in previous budgets. And in fact, the track record of the Ministry of Finance in this province in the last 7 years has been pretty impeccable, and they have a tremendous track record of forecasting revenues, and I have no reason to doubt the expertise that within the ministry and externally that we rely on.
Wouldn't there be
last question?
Wouldn't there be an urge though to be a little bit more optimistic as you head into a budget or into an election 3 months from now?
No, I think if we were going to try to move numbers to make them look better, we would not have used a -9% for GDP growth for this coming year. It would have I think been entirely defensible politically if we had used the same kind of conservatism as we'd used in previous budgets, and that's to build or use a GDP number that is 0.3 or 0.4% less than the average of the Economic Forecast Council. That's what we've done in past years. That would have been totally defensible this year politically. We just thought that because of the volatility of the economy, we should actually take even more of a conservative approach this year.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks.